Hey everybody, my name is Drew Dracy. I've been an inker for Marvel and DC Comics and CrossGen and IDW for about 30 years, and old enough that adults come up to me and say, I grew up on your stuff, which can be a little mind-blowing. At the same time, you get the feeling of age, sucking you down the hole, but also it's very, very flattering. I also wrote 3 novels for a band called The Demands. It's a indie rock band formed in Russian mob-owned bars at Pittsburgh, PA. That's my plug, all right? Now, we're going to get to Champions. I love Champions. Around 1975, or 76, more 75, Marvel decided to glut the market, fill the shelves, because direct market really wasn't a thing. I got them at the drugstore, National Record Mart, even a porno store on the front side with the swinging gates to where the magic stuff was in behind. But for me, the magic was here. So I really took a shine into Champions, even though the creative teams changed wildly. A little bit of trivia. They were formed just to get another book on their stands. Len Wein said, we need another team book. And Tony and some others were like, well, who should we have? And he says, well, we have all these leftovers. We got to have a strong man. We got to have a leader. We got to have a female, which happens to be the same thing. In this case, and Ghost Rider, which, I don't think I'd buy it enough for Ghost Rider. Such an amazing visual character. I used to ride my Huffy around and pretend I was Ghost Rider. I'd crash occasionally, but, I'd shuffle, hey, I'm just a burning skeleton, baby. So I'm getting off track here. Around early 76, mid 76, when overall prices across the board at Marvel and DC, they went from 25 cents without taxes to 30 cents. And eventually 30 cents, they would start adding taxes to it. So it was crippling in a lot of ways. It was, I couldn't buy 4 comics with one crisp dollar, or a mangled one that my grandmother would give me. I could only buy 3. And of course, I never dreamt of saving the 10 cents. I'd buy some candy or bubble gum. I could take a sip, okay? Mutter among yourselves for about a second. So, this episode is about how Dr. Doom, he controlled the world at one point. Not once, but twice. And both times, you blew it! In other words, it was his hubris. Sick of that word. We'll get to it. Let's get to the action. Yeah. Look at John Byrne. I really thought his art was going to save the book, because he really... I bought everything he did. It was just a weird thing, but not in a bad way. I jumped ahead. Forgive me. And we are doing this. Okay. Speaking of Byrne, how can you not pick that up on the stands? Byrne and Austin, when they were getting ready, or they were already doing their phenomenal run on X-Men, then Uncanny X-Men. The title's always been a misnomer. For the first 10 issues or so, it was Dr. Doom and Submariner, and they half the time they teamed up, half the time they fought each other, and it should have been super villain versus super villain, in all frankness. And I remember in issue 10, 11, the Red Skull was the bad guy that Doom, Submariner, blah, 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 blah. They all teamed up, and it said Dr. Doom and Red Skull, but they're not teaming up. Should have been like Marvel 2-in-1, something like that. Anyway, jumping ahead, getting far away. Okay, let's get to the meat of it. Bob Hall, inked by Don Perlin, who's always been solid, and Duffy Voland, who passed very young. I may be mistaken, this is his last project, but he was a Marvel, not an intern, he just did a lot of production stuff. He did occasional inking here and there, and mostly in Foom, their fanzine, their house organ for their to promote their stuff. So I'm jumping ahead, Corn Sarnet. Okay. So he gets grief from one of the guards, and guards ready to attack him, and he goes, I am power. And he takes this Doom statue that everybody loves, and he drops it like it was hot. So he's like, I'm going to, here, away, rubes. I'm going to see the master. Love, love, love this page. Gosh, I would buy this if I had the means. I don't even know who owns it, so it's a moot point. Richards, a just most cosmic has been played upon you, yet you know nothing of it. And therein lies the rub, my malleable foe. So he's like, he's reached his dreams. My conquest is better taste. My hollow remains hollow. My victory remains hollow, and doom is bored. You need board no longer, Doctor. Hello, love. I don't know where I get that accent. So, they face each other talking, and you intrigue me. Doom grants you an audience while we refresh ourselves and begin the explanation and how you grew back to an infant. He's alive, not a grown man, not an infant. He goes, curse you, you even know that? He goes, yeah, Doom knows everything. He's just that kind. I'm that anal retentive, but so they go into the boring story about how he was an infant, now he's grown, and which is such a comic book thing. It's just real life. I don't think fixes things. So while he talks, Doom kind of plays with one of the chess pieces of his long beloved Valeriga, who he knew during his time as gypsies, or maybe they call them Romanians, or I apologize if I can't think of the word. So he says, rule a word, Magneto, you're a fool. I am victim on Doom, man, and this world is already mine. Now, look at it, Magneto. Looks like it came straight out of Avengers 56 or 55 or something, really Buscema-esque. And at the time, to my knowledge, Bob Hall was the only one who was a student of the short-lived John Buscema school. I think it was a correspondence school, so he picked up all those just John Buscema traits. I think the only other one who did was Don Heck, and it was only to sharpen his skills because he felt like he was losing opportunities. So Doom says, defy me while you can, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna do it, but whoa, I can't get on my feet. My feet hurt. Okay. And hang in there. So he basically orders Magneto to destroy himself at the last second. He allows him to put up a shield. Explains how he's a puppet. And why spare me? Well, he wants a challenge. I crave a challenge. So Doom supplies the goblets and the wine. Dink. Now, Dr. Doom's done a shit ton of nasty stuff, manipulative stuff. I see this in the movies all the time, and it always makes me crazed. When you're at the bad guy's lair and they offer you a drink, it's always poisoned. Always. So they do a clink of the glass. He gets dizzy, and it was released into his drink as they touch glasses. That's kind of neat. But anyway, they give him the boot. They basically tell him, hey, go spread the word. Find someone who can challenge Bear. So his paper's too tight. So he shows up at the Avengers headquarters in a short-lived Wonder Man costume by Perez. I wish it had hung around long. It was really, really cool. I mean, anyway, beautiful page. I cannot imagine what that gets on the art market. So Magneto's pretty much making short of a lot of the then current Avengers. I need a drink of water. So they have him cornered, and they're like, okay, what's going up? Then you will listen, and he fills him in. And I love the shadows on his helmet is so great for ominous stuff. And Iron Man's like, you mean Doom's controlling us without us being aware of it? And then Doom shows up, and they're like, we must obey. And so what does he tell them? He tells them, mastery overall, including the Vision, which will come into play later in this episode. He says, he holds him and he says, okay, Magneto, I'll give you a chance. Pick one of the X-Men to be your ally and see if you can do something with it. So he picks, quote-unquote, the weakest Avenger, the Beast, solely because of familiarity from back in the old school X-Men days. So he has him in a Quinjet, and he's working on his brain, Beast's brain, and undoes the power, and which hurts like hell, because for a brief time, Magneto could control wills in issue 111 or so, and it was never brought up again until, like, I think Fred Hembeck brought it up in the Fantastic Four roast. So he contacts him simply because he has connections. And the Quinjet goes to the FF. They're not around. He goes back to Avengers Mansion. And he goes to Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Their upper New York place. So they're like, we're out of choices. But there's one man you didn't know. Let's go to LA and meet the champions. So, guest star, the Incredible Hulk. So, I love the Champions mostly for Ghost Rider. I mean, anything with him in it. What bugged me is Tony Isabella was a good continuity guy to a fault, because like half the early issues don't have Ghost Rider because he has stuff going on in his own book. I can applaud that, but I also applaud, like, when Marvel 2-1 or Marvel Team Up would have a disclaimer at the bottom saying, like, this story takes place prior to the events of Fantastic Four 168 or something like that. And, that was fine with me. And also, like, death was not really a big thing at the time. Whoop. And, all right, stop. So, we got kind of a banged out issue, and Mike Esposito, God rest his soul, I've never liked his inks. It's kind of tinny, and but a lot of times he and Frank Giacoia worked together because Giacoia was a slow inker. Stan and everybody loved his style. I loved his style, and Esposito would pitch in and they would jam, and it would be good. But on his own, I don't know. He did Wonder Woman way back when with Ross Andrew. That was pretty solid. And I'm talking way back. All right, so there's a battle, everything, and it's there. And whoa! I'm missing a crucial moment. Okay, all kinds of case going on. Okay, focus. Why did I focus it? Oh. I'll just leave it there. Come on. Focus. You never gave up on anything else in your life. Focus, comic. Come on. Okay, I'll just do this. Okay. Doom's in proximity to kill the Beast. Ghost Rider shows up and bops the top of Doom's head with a flaming bomb. My mask is on fire, my face, curse you, demon. I always liked when they showed the skeleton underneath the leathers. John Byrne pioneered that. He goes, "Yes, babe, must remove it, must have air. But without the air filters in my face, I'll inhale my own neural fumes." That's just damn sad. Okay, he puts his helmet back on. Everybody else is like out of their trance. Whoa! Everybody else is out of their trance, and Hulk takes off, and they're looking around Doom, and he's confused. He's staying in place, and he says, "Doom commands, but I am Doom. Command, but I must obey, yet why does it Doom not command? Why? Okay. Oh, never mind. Okay, that takes care of that situation. All right. Whoa, hey everybody. Now, this gets explored a second time about 10 years later in an excellent graphic novel by David Michelinie of Avengers and Iron Man fame, and Bob Hall, who's done a little bit of everything. Most notably, he did the Saturday Night Live crossover and Marvel team up, which had basically took place on the set. There was these criminals, and Bob Hall, his first love is the theater. He's very studious. He's done a ton of productions, including on Broadway. And he was an editor for a while. He did some artwork, but he juggled both, and that was his passions. And which is great. I would love to have seen more of his stuff, sure, but his nickname as an editor was called Broadway Bob. So first I thought it was a lot of hokum, but it's not. So Emperor Doom. It's a graphic novel. It's oversized, about magazine size. And we start off with Kilgrave the Purple Man. Now, for you, those of you who don't know, he appeared in Daredevil, I think, number 4 back in 1965 or 6. His whole body secretes how can I put it? It's a pheromone of some sort, which makes everybody in proximity hypnotized. It's like he could choose not to use it on somebody, but he's getting like a general, like a 5-star general of this backwater country to serve drinks. He gets a mayor to do handstands, and just all this. He's having a great time. And then a poster pad shows up. I like this new format a lot better on my channel. And are you the Purple Man? Who are you? Oh, go away. So the person off panel says, no, but that's impossible. Nobody can resist me. I can, and now Zebediah Kilgrave, you shall do as I command. And a prologue. So, beautiful splash page by Bob Hall. Real grainy, not very. It's almost Sienkiewicz-like. It's like he's pulling some of the Sienkiewicz magic in there, and so he goes along, and somebody notices later that he's got winged feet. Oh boy, I better call the station, get the SWAT team. And the reason there's a reason why Superman is heading somewhere above the waves, and it's never good. So he shows up. Oh, he gets identified, and his costume gets blasted off by one of Doom's palm blasts. And he goes, who dare strike the sub-era avenging sun? Blah, 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 blah. Of course I do. Come, neighbor. Put aside your childish posturing for once and enjoy the gracious hospitality of Dr. Doom. Okay, back. So, they sit, and like one of the many discussions of teaming up in the Supervillain team-up comic, this one he shows Neighbor a gem, and he calls it a psycho prism, and it's holding one single hair strand from the Purple Man, the hypnotic guy. So he's an accident of chemistry, he's a mutant and everything, but now I control the Purple Man. And he basically says that it'll help everything on the Earth, on the surface world, but beneath, Doom can control all the seas and keep the Earth breathers out with their toxic dumping and other things that disrupt. So Doom leaves. He's like, I just wanted this place for the atmosphere. So they go along. Who flies above? The Vision, love that pose. And he explains this, smaller part of the Kilgrave influence. He says it will work. He's adjusted it to work on robots and or androids. It's a different one. He goes, "You offer me a dream, Doctor. A lasting dream from my beloved world beneath the waves. Is there really a choice?" So, here you go. We're married now. We're engaged. So we cut to Wonder Man, who I always loved, but I totally get why people scoffed at him in the last 30-some years, because they really haven't done anything interesting. It's like his story arc has run its course, uncertain hero, but he gets a job in Hollywood doing special effects. He jumps on a grenade and he stops the effect with his strength. Like, hey, Wonder Man. So he gets walking a boot. Meanwhile, at the West Coast Avengers, which I just loved. Wow. Hawkeye. Just Wonder Man. Hey, everybody. You don't say hey, everybody. You just. So he's wandering around. And by coincidence. Oh, okay. He was heading to Stark's lab. You're right on time. Hello, Tony. Would you rather be playing Iron Man somewhere? Really, Simon? We're in the middle of it. Perform a scientific experiment. You're a being of pure energy. Don't you have the curiosity about the nature of that energy? What about its possibilities, its properties? So he talks him into it, and he gets in this neuro bath, and he goes, "I'm not thrilled about this. It's like a coffin, and basically I stayed here for 30 days." And Tony says at the very, very end, "What could possibly happen in a month?" You know that is going to be a cue for something to F up. Okay? I'm yelling at you. Hold on. God dang, I'm thirsty. Okay. So, the Vision's at the monitor. Submariner has the thing that will stop mechanical critters that Doom devised. And you can't get into Vision's intangible state. So, Star Fox, horrible name, and Wanda walk in. So immediately he's ordered to choke Wanda. And she goes, "I'll do what you ask." So he puts the gizmo on his head. And he orders him to dance around. So we're getting more and more of these robots out of the way. And there's Doom. Love these layouts. There it is. That's a beautiful layout. Kilgrave the Purple Man is struck inside this purple gem, which will expand his powers. And not just people around him, but around the world. And Doom's just making sure everything's going right. Another thing about... never mind. Going back to Division, in Supervillain Team Up, he bent the knee to Doctor Doom when he shouldn't have. Okay, we're going back to, breakfast or lunch. And Tony and his Silver Centurion garb really would hog up a lot of the table space, but who cares? I'd like the costume. So, they're finding out people are being taken over. It's like, how? So, they spring into action. And then another character I love, my favorite Kirby Marvel 70s cover is Machine Man. He's always gadgets. But he gets pat on the back in the second panel there. And he's taken over too. He's shut down. So, Kilgrave is like, you don't deserve to rule. No. Leave me! I am removing my mask, Kilgrave. Within circuitry that shields me now from your power, I am totally vulnerable. Then release me. I said release me. Stand on your head. Take a flying leap. Kill yourself. Impossible. Not this close. No will. No one has a will that strong. No one. Now Zebediah Kilgrave. Who deserves to rule? Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now my only hang-up about this whole book is... At the time, when Bob Hall started with comics, he was doing a lot of Baroque, Buscema-esque actions, as I've shown in the Supervillain Team Up book. And then along the line, it's a really shorthand with a lot of mid-range images. And I sort of take that, I'm not accusing, I'm just saying, chances are Jim Shooter wanted him to do it because it was quicker. And so you see a lot of squat characters and pages, images, scenes that really need a lot more attention. But at this time, Shooter was a bit cuckoo about doing 9-panel grids, a ton of mid-range shots. Ron Wilson went from spectacular artwork on the Hulk gloss color magazine, and all of a sudden, Marvel 2-1, he was doing all these mid-range shots, and they just were boring as hell. But I think he played favorites with Bill Sienkiewicz and Walt Simonson, babyface Bob Layton, but everybody else sort of got this mandate of like, well, you should draw it like Ditko would or something like that. But Ditko has a whole different sensibility. I mean, like, a lot of this stuff can be really, really dramatic. It serves the story, but it also hampers it a bit. Even Ultron, he gets the tag and he's out like a light. So, dude just enjoy himself. I love those West Coast Avengers. If they hadn't friggin' changed Wonder Man's costume and gave him a snotty attitude. So they break into one of Doom's many fortresses. Love that Iron Man face. My greatest invention of my life is finally complete. Shellhead, does he mean? Yes, I do. Quick, hit him before he can. Slank. Woohoo! Yeah, baby! And West Coast Avengers are kind of stupefied. And Mockingbird says, I think we're going to stop something. Yes, my dear, you are going to stop annoying me. Oh, yeah, sorry about that, Doc. We'll leave right away. Bye. So, it works, Hell Doctor. Now we will destroy the world's governments, and blacken the skies with smoke from the burning capitals. Dr. Krangstein. You have no imagine whatsoever. So, Doom goes to the United Nations and basically tells them, hey, I'm in boss, you'll do as I say. And they all agree. You got Reagan, you got Thatcher, you got other people from other, and so it's like effortless. I accept, the leader of the world. That may be all, leader. I shan't need you anymore. So they start, bickering. They was kind of, his startup. He feels left out. Doesn't know what's going on, and he says he's going to attack him. But the long exposure to the Purple Man's hair in that container has actually affected Namor to where he is now possessed as well, because he's about to fight. And he goes, of course, Doctor, as long as you wish. So they took off. There's good old Reagan, yippee Gavin. And so we learn over time that war ends, famine ends, nations come together, the singular hope of bonding and making this a better world. Stock market booms. Interest rates fall, production rises while crime and hunger dwindles. And it's all because of one man. But at the same time, we get Wonder Man comes out of his chemical bath. And he says, I feel a little groggy, but overall not bad. So he's going to put on a towel. Sees Tony. Hey, I can't talk now. After a month, Tony has nothing to say. So, I'm redesigning the Stark space battle for use as the Emperor's private transport. What about the results of my Emperor? And Wonder Man's confused. He's in Avengers Mansion doing all kinds of work. Well, they're just sprucing up the place per Jan. And The Emperor has chosen his compound for the water home, for his winter home, and he's tickled pink. So Wonder Man's like, what could possibly happen in a month? Tiger, we're going to talk to you. Something crazy. He's out. So he's trying to, fill everybody in, but they're just not buying it. So he sees Doom in Puerto Rico having a parade. Oh my God, I got to tell the others. We've got to stop him. Stop! I better get the hotline. Great. Terrific idea. Let me put through the White House, please. It's an emergency. Attaboy, Cap. Okay. And Doom hears from Cap. He goes, a snake in Eden? Impossible. Basically, Cap rats Wonder Man out because he's so possessed. I must access information as Wonder Man myself. And could it be that there's a resistor to my rule? How fascinating. So, Wonder Man, he basically has to take out the whole team. Beautifully choreographed. But I think bigger panels from his earlier stuff would help sell this. What happened is this book most likely was like an Avengers annual, and at the time Marvel was doing a shitload of graphic novels, and I think they just upgraded them to make a schedule. Like the Aladdin Effect, which has She-Hulk and some others. It is awful. I mean, it did not deserve the graphic novel treatment. I mean, at the time, graphic novels were starting to lose their pedigree. Let me drink real quick. Doing all these voices just exhaust me. Much better. So Tony comes down, gets clocked. He goes, pulled my punch as much as I could. Now, usually the saying what you're doing is bad, but that makes sense. Because, I mean, his head would just fly off into the stratosphere. So he gets on a jet, the sky jet of Hawkeye, hightails it out of there. He tries to land. Everyone's out to kill him. They all know. So he punches his way down the sewer system. Great storytelling. Great storytelling. I wish I'd have inked this. I'd have pepped up a little bit. But, hey. So what happens is Wonder Man goes into hiding. And he puts on a mustache because he has some experience in Hollywood. And so Hulk and Power Man and others of the guards. Why not? So, Doom's kind of like throwing a curveball. He says, I ruled as a governor, not administrator. The fight of victory is a noble one. But worth is victory devoid of challenge. Blah, 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 blah. Some administrator shows up and he goes, you asked me to remind you that you're due at the briefing on farm subsidy revisions in Pruskow. Of course, it's my duty. So he's dealing with a lot of government red tape that just somehow keeps everything together. Wonder Man in disguise, he decides to go off the grid. Back before cell phones became a thing, back before GPS became a thing, he went and he found there was this blind woman who has a little, home near the woods. That's where she loves it. And they small talk a little bit. And she says she does well. She gets by. Even with the Emperor, it just gives her other stuff to expand on and enjoy. And she says she has a talent and it would be a waste not to use it. So it kind of gets to Simon. Because he goes, it's such a waste of talent. It's such a waste. It's a shame to waste any type of talent. Okay. So, Simon's kind of like, hey. So we go back. Wonder Man examines all the files on the Chartreuse Band. Only other people that resume not be subject to Kilgrave is Daredevil, Kingpin, and Dr. Doom, I guess. And both those two were through short will power. So, isn't it great? Well, he comes back to Avengers Mansion. Cap's working out, which he always does, which I love. I always love it. And I love the energy and the figures that Bob Hall does. So they get into a big old fight, and he says he won't give up till Wonder Man's dead, and he takes Cap down. He goes, "Let go of me, you traitor! Sorry, but there's something you have to see first." And he goes, "Now watch. Let me go." Working on it. He'll see all these battles with Doctor Doom, and it's like a huge information dump on his brain. And he goes, "No!" He's broken loose. Stop, stop, stop. Got to stop. Doom. So, I mean, somebody like Cap, who also is strong-willed, he makes sense he would be the first to break free using these tactics. So the two are trying to figure out what's going on. I love that. You pull just little things that you remember. So what happens is Cap devises a strategy of these computers that are supposed to be used in public school. They're supposed to help with the images. Supposed to, I don't know, but Hawkeye goes, "Sounds kind of dumb to me, but I guess if the Empire wants us to, sure, Hawkeye, it'll be fun." I'm game. I like my woman voice. Lame, I know. So they go through a captain and we're like, "Wonder Man, we've been had." So now the Freed Avengers are ready to hit the road, or better yet, the sky. And they take off, doing the Avenger thing. So all these papers flying, and they're not, what do you call this? It's not confetti in Celebration. He says, wait, gotta do my mask voice. I haven't done it the whole time, but at last, I challenged my authority. The rebellion for me to quash. Out of my way, sycophants. And he gets on a helicopter. Wait, gotta do a drink real quick. Not a good helicopter, except it's still dry. He goes, "Well, you almost seem happy." "No, but I do feel alive." Because they're sitting around, it's just, what do you do after Cargill World? That's the thing. So the good old wackos, short for West Coast Avengers, they head out to the island that Doom is at, and the Quinjet gets exploded by the artillery guns. We got it, we did, hooray! My greatest flaw, I surround myself with idiots. So, they're recovering, and they do what they do best. Just take everything out. Kicking ass. Not taking names, because these characters don't have names. So, beautiful, beautiful tag. Okay. More of the stuff. Submariner is evil. He's trying to crush the Wasp. Shh. Hey, baby. Shush. So, she sends a bioblast to a tank of water, which is his bread and butter, and soaks him. He is once more the avenging son. Sonny! Stop! And so Doom has a conundrum, because here comes some matter. He goes, "Still to maintain my control as it is necessary to." It flashes back to several different meetings. "Yes, Emperor, we are ruling on that border dispute right away. And to sums up the minutes of the last meeting. Now to proceed with the reasons why the state of Delaware feels it needs to secede from the Union. That's right, Mr. Majesty, Your Majesty. After reviewing the upswing in hog production in Budapest, you're scheduled to meet with the representatives of... it's just making them... there we go. So, He hits the button, and he goes, perhaps it would be wiser to let fate decide. So, Subby heads right toward the big contraption holding in Zebediah Kilgrave. Takes him out. And all these consequences of individual freedom, which has been explored many a time in many science fiction books, some of them in comics, but you have apartheid still a thing of minorities basically kept in subservient roles pre Manson Mandela's freedom. And you get the bosses getting like, put the missiles back and arm them at once. There's just all these different things that it goes back to normal. There's a border dispute. So that's a great wrap up. Really great. You agree with me? Leave a comment in the section below. So supposedly Kilgrave is dead. But we know better. Okay. And Doom takes off. And Sunrider's like, I gotta get out of here. Cleanse myself of all this horse shit. And last page. Really good last page. So they take off. And they're getting back to, West Coast Avengers is back to normal. Conflict has resumed along the Iran-Iraq border. In recent news, Russia has filed a formal protest accusing the United States of masterminding the recent takeover of Dr. Doom. They say, Cap stops, the world isn't perfect, Hawkeye, but people are free to make their own choices, and that's the way it should be. You ask me, Cap, things are a little bit muddier in this area. In fact, I can only think of one thing I know for sure. We've done humanity. I got a drink. Damn it! I was gonna get through. We've done humankind the greatest favor in history. We've done the greatest damage. And either way, that's something we're gonna have to live with for the rest of our lives. Sensational. I must have read this 10 times because it goes into complexity of like, what if a superhero gets everything he wants? It's like, what are you going to do? Play Scrabble or, do portraiture and such? About Bob Hall, who I do love, I wasn't keen on seeing this shorthand in an oversized album format. I loved it because it's a superhero and the storytelling is spot on, but I think maybe another inker, that's my inkerly prejudice kicking in, and I think a little bit of larger figures, like the ones in the foregrounds. At this time, I think Jim Shooter was sort of getting away from how to draw Marvel Comics the right way, because there would be a tier of one side of a book would show you really stiff, generic actions, like breaking through the wall and all that. And on the other side would be how Marvel does it. And John Buscema would do it just dramatic. Not like every panel has to be dramatic, but I just feel like this is, despite the polite imagery, which tells the story, looks cool, should have been an annual. Maybe it started as one. But, I'm glad I have it. I'm glad the story came out. But about Bob Hall, he started, his work at Marvel started, to my recollection, that his work at Marvel started to slow down a bit, and he started doing some indie work. And one of them was a book called, I wrote it down. In the late 90s, he did a book called Armed and Dangerous for Acclaim in the late 1999s. Now, Bob's style is just amazing. It's like part Sin City, part just part of him. It's extension. It's really beautiful stuff. So I recommend ordering it on eBay. Okay, one last thing. one book I think that we haven't discussed yet is The Demands, Book 1. Young Lainey Kilburn. She wants to be a rock star in the age of beautiful people singing pre-pop committee-style songs, and it's all because of her infatuation with Jack White when she was a child, while all her friends were into boy bands. So she's been with Tomboy, and she moves from Maryland to Pittsburgh purely on a whim, just to get out of her comfort zone. And she lives in Sharpsburg, which has seen much better days. Like, the main street's pretty much a ghost town, very Omega Man type ghost town. But she loves it. She lives on a loft above a bar, and it's owned by veterans, or it's run by veterans, and she gets to know them because her father was a veteran who passed away. And anyway, she forms a band. She meets a bunch of other broken toys. They form a band called The Demands, and they start off pretty piss weak, but they get better. But many of the bars and places are owned by the Russian mob, and some of the members of the group sass off to them, ignore advice. They don't even know the Russian mob would own these, so they kind of get themselves into trouble unwillingly. And then when shit goes down, several people double down on like the fuck you attitude, and then that's when the mob kicks in and doesn't it makes it ugly. Lainey ends up dating one of the main young mobsters, who I nicknamed Mobblers, and kick-ass rock and roll band. So there, that's book 1, done in 2015. Here is book 2, which came out a year later. I handmade this. I posted on a telephone wire, and I ripped the pieces off at the bottom, kind of like when you're at a college. Wanted drummer, no posers. I took this along the strip district in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to be specific, and I enjoy that, and it's more fun. But wait, there's more. Hot off the presses, The Demands 3 Stage Dive. Terse and funny shotgun prose by no less by Chuck Dixon, author of Levon Kane series and 100 issues of Robin and a shitload of Batman. So this picture I took, I think I was in Milwaukee or so, and I kind of wanted to get like a bar with low attendance listening to a band who are way back here. And the logo I designed, I started the design. Chuck Dixon contributed to it. I wonder if this shows up at all. It says Dracy Productions. Nope. Go back a little. Well, anyway, I made it like a ticket stub. Like this one is 0003, whereas the other ones were 1 and 2. And Chuck gives another great wrap up at the end. And somebody dies. Somebody major dies in this book. Now, real quick here, we'll wrap it up. You do not have to start with book 1 and go, oh my god, I have to dredge through all these. No. Book 3 is so effing airtight. It is. I'm not going to apologize for saying it's a great effing book. Airtight. I spent years working on it. I killed chapters that sucked. My editor, she makes me laugh. She makes me cry more often because she'll shoot down some ideas, but the end result is great. So I have a website about The Demands. If you search it on eBay, on Google, and I'm also doing comic book cover recreations of any comic you want. Just let me know. I'm on Facebook. You could connect with me there. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I've been meaning to do this forever. Now, it's done. Get these as well. You get the Demands, and you get these. And tell them Drew sent you. All right, everybody. Had a lot of fun. And I hope you did too. And Brand new episode coming up too.